Hello and welcome to BusyWorks Beats. I need you to smash that like button. Today we're gonna break barriers. I know you guys have heard people say that my plugin is AI Slop. It's just, anybody can codex this thing, anybody can chat GPT this thing, anybody can Claude code this thing. Okay, try it. I challenge you to try it. Because what we're gonna do is actually put this up against Logic Pro's AI mastering and any other mastering tools I have access to. I think I have Master Plan on this computer and Ozone 11. I don't have Ozone 12. On this computer. But what we're going to do is load up AI Mastering 9. Let me show you guys how it works. So one way you can use it is just hit play. I don't know what button I just pressed, so let's hit play. And then we're going to hit auto master. It will look at your song. It will analyze how much bass is in it, the headroom. It will adjust everything for you, so you don't have to sit here and go through every little thing about the plugin. Basically, it's just going to set these 7 sliders for you based on how much headroom you need. So let's hit auto master. There's just one way to use it. You don't have to use the auto master feature. Here's before. Here's after. Let's say you want to pull on the width a little bit. It can still do stuff. Like you can go to the width tab here. You can pull up the mono compatibility. Let's add this to 30. I like to add a little dimension, like at 10 is my favorite setting. Let's say you want more dynamic, pull up the punch. This is just a starting point. Okay, the auto master is just a way to get started. What it really does is it sets the input volume. That's the main thing that you want to have the computer set, because most people are going into the plugin way too loud. Okay, you need enough headroom. So punch adds that up and down dynamic, then turbo adds that dimensionality. So I forgot that bass was in the track. So what the program did was listen to the beginning of the song, not the part where it was bassy. So now I'm gonna reread it where the bass is. Okay, so I pulled it down 5 dB. So it just shows like where you guys read the song can determine how hard it goes into the plugin. So it gave it enough headroom here, 5 dB. And now we can go back and tweak the knobs just like we were before. Now again, some of my favorite settings, setting the mono compatibility, turning on dimension. Another area I like is the excite area. Turn this up to about 3. I keep it on transformer. You could do more, just different harmonics with tape, and I'd say tape is more powdery, transformer is more crunchy and gritty, solid is more like a very subtle saturation. Okay, and then we can go to where it says shape and then mess with the British console mode. There's other modes, but my favorite is the British console. That's why I have it set by default. So my thing is, you guys don't even have to know what any of that means. You could just literally click this button. So this is for people who just want a quick master. You don't want to overly think stuff. You just want your stuff to sound good. Click auto master. Now for the people who want to get hands-on, most producers want to be hands-on. That's why I made a whole plugin. Okay, so we have 7 macro knobs here. These knobs control a lot of the stuff on the back end. In short, just use your ear, because this plugin wasn't built by just copying some old DSP from a juice library and reskinning it to say, here's our compressor, here's our EQ. That's what the majority of plugins are. It's just literally the same code with a different interface, okay? This is a completely new DSP. And on top of that, we have a different interface. We're trying to make the interface even better. Okay, so now you guys can control what are called macros. So the AI part to this is that it can read the levels in your song. It can adjust the headroom. It can look at the knobs and say, okay, based on this set of conditions, if this, then what? So it's called conditions encoding. So it's looking at the song and saying, okay, if all these conditions, then it's going to set the plugin. It's not just like running your song through a neural network and sending it to a cloud. It's not doing all that. It's just setting the knobs. The knobs are built off of the same DSP. And when I say DSP, I don't mean the same. Literally, I mean the same C++ that another plugin would use that you guys, love. So when people say it's AI Slop, I go, okay, do you even know what this is under the hood, or are you just talking? And it takes a lot of ear. Okay, so for the people who are more ambitious, you want to create your own plugins, that's awesome. However, this takes a lot of ear to dial this plugin in. Over the, 4 months I was developing this plugin, it's not just, hey, this code, this code, this code. It's, hey, this ratio to that ratio combined with this ratio combined with that ratio sounds pleasing to my ear. That's what you have to do for months and months and months. It's not just about code. It's about the humanness of it to judge the code. And that's the part where, okay, we compared against the top plugins. Like I said, Ozone 12, Ozone 11. I have videos on the website comparing against the top plugins. So you guys can see it for yourself. So here's before. And again, if you want the plugin, just go to busyworksbeats.com/AI mastering. Here's before. Here's after. Let's say you want it louder. Okay, you can either push the input or the output. I recommend either those or go to where it says loud, turn on what's called the loudness ladder. And here you can go through different stages of gain, okay, because gain can be turned up in different areas. So we're going to turn it up on the clean mode here so that it takes the path of least harmonics. And here's before. Here's after. So let me show you guys. This is not just about hip hop. Okay, we're gonna add this to some drums. In this project, this is a Blinding Lights reference we did from the weekend. And we programmed 80s pop. This is probably the most pop you can get, okay, is the Weeknd's Blinding Lights. So what we're going to do is find the drum bus, and I'm going to turn off the AI mastering just to show you guys the before. So these are Lindrum samples here. And then we're going to turn on the AI mastering. Do you guys feel that analog depth that it just pulls you in? It adds life to those drums. Here's before. Okay, because it has a non-linear approach. Okay, that's why it sounds like analog. It's not just a static transfer curve. Okay, so that's why it sounds like that. Now to dial that in, if you wanted to dial it in from scratch, let me show you guys how that would work. So here's the BusyWorks Beats AI Mastering 9. You guys can get your free trial. It's a 7-day free trial. Just go to busyworksbeats.com/AI mastering. Okay, so what we're going to do is not hit the auto master because we're working with raw components. So here we're just going to turn a punch. Instantly the drums jump out. And then we're going to turn up turbo so it can add dimension. Now what I'm going to do to take this even up higher level is go to the Excite tab, make sure my transformer is on. I keep mine on 3. Let's go to where it says shape. Let's make sure the British console is on. Now you can turn it up higher if you guys want. For more of that like console glue. We'll just turn it up to about 40 for now. And we can go to the width tab and mess with some dimension to add that like small room vibe. And now the drums jump out. We can even add mono compatibility for the people who are obsessed about that. Okay. Here's before. Here's after. And then from here, we can even add more bass to that kick. Now, bass does more than just turn up bass. It reshapes your bass if you guys have bass already in your track. And then we can mess with the width of the overheads. Now, in this case, we don't need it. There's nothing fancy going on, but we can add some more mid focus on that snare. Here's before, guys. Here's after. It went from sounding like an amateur like stock plugin thing to sounding like an actual record. So when people tell me this is only for trap, I laugh. I use trap because there's a lot of drums in trap. So let's open up another project. So here's another 80s synth pop track we did. It turned into like the Weeknd style sound here. And I'll show you guys how transformative the BusyWorks Beats AI Mastering 9 is on this track. So it doesn't just make stuff louder. It adds detail. Now let's turn it off. It's like the life of the song just went away. Here's after. then it converts into more of the weekend sound on the right side. So again, let me take this sound away. Night and day difference, you guys. Now, we're gonna wait for the second half to kick in. You guys to hear how this is multi-genre. It's not just trap and hip hop. Here's before. Now, certain people say, okay, you're just doing a volume trick. Okay, well, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn it up for you guys. It does not even remotely sound full. And on top of this, actually, let's use the EQ too, so we can turn it up more. So this is what the volume just turned up, since people claim it's just the volume being turned up. And now let's turn it up based on the levels here. So it's hitting just above 0. We're even going past 0. It does not sound as full. Okay, so here's the AI mastering. Night and day, you guys. See how the bass just cuts through? Here's without it. Here's with. All right. So people saying my plugin's AI Slop. I literally compared it to the top plugins in the world for mastering. So what we're going to do is go back to Logic so we can use those plugins in the AI Assistant in Logic Pro. We're in Logic Pro, and because it has a superior sound on the Mac, in my opinion, it sounds more open. We're going to right click and duplicate these tracks. So what we're going to do is go track by track. On one plugin, we're going to add, or excuse me, on one sound, we're going to add the BusyWorks Beats AI Mastering 9. On the second track, I'm going to label this, because I know for sure we have the plugin called Master Plan. Let's add this in, Master Plan VE 1.5. So we're going to use that to compare against. And again, I have Ozone 11 on this computer, not Ozone 12. We did a comparison against Ozone 12. All right, so here's the BusyWorks Beats AI Mastering 9 on this track. So we're going to use a plugin called Hoffa For You Blind Test. This will help us, I'll also mark this BusyWorks Beats AI Mastering 9. Okay, and then we're going to compile these into what's called a track stack. We're going to use a folder stack so we don't see any levels coming in. So basically, the plugin allows us to hear the true difference between two songs, okay, not just the illusion of difference. So what we're going to do first is go to Master Plan. Now, most people tell me to dial it in, so I'm going to dial it in. However, during tests, our goal is to do the default settings. As you guys saw, when you click AI Mastering on the, Auto Master on BusyWorks Beats AI Mastering 9, it does stuff for you. So Ozone does the same thing in a different way. Master Plan doesn't do that, but it does give you presets. So that's my approach, is like, if I click my button, what is my button versus your button? Now, if we get into nuanced technique, now it's my style versus your style. And that's where tests kind of fall apart. But what we're going to do for this is try to dial it in as loud as we can. So let's push into it so it actually starts processing. Say this is probably, boost the highs. See what we can do with the lows. So I'd probably say that's as loud as it's going to get for this track. So So again, here's before. Here's after. Now that's the master plan, okay? Now we can even compare presets if we want to do that. Now we're going to mute that for now. Go to BusyWorks Beats, add mastering 9. We're going to dial this in. Now again, you guys can just click Auto Master. Will do stuff for you. The best part about Auto Master though is it sets the headroom, okay, which is this input knob basically, and then it will set the preferred knob adjustments. I'm going to add some of my favorite things. For example, under the Excite, we're going to turn Transformer to 3. Under Shape, we're going to make sure we have that British Council active. And under Width, I like to add a little dimensionality. So let's add this up to 10. Turn this up to 10. And add some mono compatibility. We'll even turn up the bass like we did on the other track. Let's add a little more punch. So punch and turbo are where you guys can get heavy-handed without worrying about that. Here's before. Now what we're going to do is do a blind test and see which one we prefer. And let me make sure Hoffa For You blind test is on this master channel here, or master plan channel. All right, so now what we're going to do is go to the folder and we're going to actually hit start. And what this will do is shuffle these, and we can't tell which is which. I'm just going to leave notes. All right, so to my ear, this one just sounds more full. Let's see which one that is. So the BusyWorks Beats Add Mastering 9 to my ear, just when you hear stuff side by side, it's so night and day. But when you're using plugins in like your sessions, you're not comparing it against something else. So it's hard to understand. But when I show you guys side by side, the master plan versus BusyWorks Beats AI Mastering 9 is night and day. So here's master plan. It sounds very hollow. And the phase is a little weird. It's not how much depth we get. It's like you can hear every instrument way clearer. That bass is rocking. Let's go back to master plan. It just sounds like a hollow thing. I don't know how else to put it. Here's BusyWorks Beats Add Mastering 9. Do you guys see what I'm saying now? My AI Slop plugin. So if you guys want to try this AI Slop plugin for yourself, go to BusyWorksBeats.com/AI mastering. Let's do it on one more track just so we can see the power of this thing here. So we're going to use it on, so you guys heard the difference. There's no need to compare because it's going to eat up time. Let's do this deep cover style Dr. Dre track here. What we're going to do though is turn down the input level. It's a little loud. Let's give us about 10 dB to work with. And then again, we could just turn knobs. So guys, no need to overthink here. I did the thinking for you. Turn up the punch. Think about it, the LA2A has two knobs, gain and attenuation knob. So why are people making our plugins don't need to be complicated. What does it sound like? Okay. Now if you want to go deeper, you guys can in these other tabs here. I'm gonna add my favorite transformer in here, and let's go to the width, add that mono compatibility, little dimension on the side. It's that little British console in here. I forgot this part of the song gets loud, so I gotta pull back the bass. Forgot there was a little bass part. Here's before. So pretty much a level match. Here's before. Here's after. It feels like we're in the song now. Let's turn up the bass though. It's like it sounds good, but we're not feeling it. And this plugin is adding the life, the feeling to it. Here's before. Here's after. I showed you guys this thing works on pop music. Talk about polar opposites. Pop music and hip hop are like culture and anti-culture. Matter and antimatter. We just went across the entire spectrum about how this plugin works on that stuff, and we compared it against one of the tools people swear by, which is Master Plan. Night and day difference, you guys. So you guys who are haters, you can say AI slop all day long. It doesn't matter. For the people who want actual quality sounding plugins, go to busyworksbeats.com/AI mastering. You can start your 7-day free trial today, and there's different payment options as well. All right, guys, go to busyworksbeats.com/AI mastering. Peace out, guys.